Welcome to the 827th round of our City of Gold Coast Council meetings. It's a great council. It's a great round. What am I looking at? Well, I'm going to move a change to this agenda, at least to my run sheet. Classic. Yeah. Geez, the case for a new chair has been made. Cheers for that. There we go. Edgy, very edgy. Anyway, welcome all. We have a fairly packed agenda today. However, city officers have done a fantastic job at presenting, I think, some very considered recommendations and some comprehensive reports that, at least to my mind, haven't demanded too many questions. I think we've landed at a sensible place. Item 6.5 has been flagged by Councillor Daphne McDonald, something worth having a discussion about in public, so that will be unstarred. Colleagues, is there any appetite to unstar any further items? No. Would someone like to move the starred items? Councillor Tozer, seconded by Councillor Lacastre. I'll put that to a vote. All those in favour? All those against? That is carried. Brilliant. Councillor McDonald, 6.5, being our outdoor dining guidelines. Would you like do we have a presentation or merely an opportunity for some questions, Director?
Through the Chair, just opportunity for questions on this one.
Right, Councillor McDonald.
Thanks, Mr Chair. On page 103, with the example of roadside dining permit conditions, I'm just wondering, with the minimum clearance of 2 metres must be maintained and kept clear at all times, and if the roadside dining area is adjacent to the curb, a minimum setback of 500 mils from any part of the curb must be also maintained. Is that, as some of our curb dining now will be on moving traffic and not just on parking lanes, I'm just wondering if it's worth looking at having a larger distance between the edge of the curb.
Through the Chair, we can have a look at that, although the minimum distance they do take into account relevant safety factors. Is your concern with changes to traffic environments that we may have to modify that to increase the distance?
Well, some of the, like for instance, through Burleigh and through my area in Palm Beach, where you had parking right up to the curb. Now those parking lanes will most likely be moving traffic. So I'm just concerned there with...
So just on that great point, Councillor McDonald, could I just get some clarity around the application of this as a minimum distance, and in the city officer's decision-making process, what will we have regard to when expanding that minimum, and will it include passing traffic?
Thank you. Through the Chair, the considerations around the moving traffic in particular is that if it's over 60 kilometres per hour along that stretch of road, the roadside dining would be shopfront, not curbside. The minimum distance for setback from the curbside under that speed limit is consideration of doors opening and etc.
Okay.
So thank you for picking up Burleigh, and I'd just like to expand that to say Burleigh and Varsity Lakes. I know in the development of the guidelines, I'd raised some concerns about these setbacks and how any setbacks in new guidelines might impact existing operators, where, for example, they have a table and chairs within, say, 1 metre of a bench that happens to be, and I'm thinking maybe of the fish and chip shop in Burleigh, where there's that kind of bench seating, but there's also table and chairs. Have we carried out some form of desktop assessment to see whether any existing traders would be impacted by the new guidelines?
Through the chair, yes, we have. All current permit holders are meeting the current conditions as outlined in the outdoor dining guidelines. We also have taken into consideration some feedback that we have received about distances with things like street infrastructure and that type of thing. And what we have done there is we have actually noted within the guidelines that the preference is 2 metres, but depending on the location and other factors, we will be able to look at each application on a case-by-case basis.
Right. Thanks. That gives me a lot of comfort, because I think the last thing I wanted to see was some traders who had come out of COVID, had their lives made more difficult because their effective seating capacity might have been reduced by 10 or 15%, but it sounds as though that will not happen.
Through the chair, correct.
Yeah, great. Councillor McDonald, did that?
Yep,
You got some more questions?
Yep. The other issue too is, you know, and I think this is a great asset and for property, you know, especially cafes that use the outdoor dining. But I just wanted that it made clear that the existing approval doesn't guarantee a permit, you know, if there's changes of ownership, etc. But also, and again, in Burleigh, we're having the problems where we've got the light rail works that's impacting on existing properties. But people, some of those businesses don't seem to understand that, you know, with the outside dining, that's something additional. It doesn't sort of come with their business. So I'm just wondering if in some of these guidelines it can be made a little bit stronger so that people know when they do buy a business that the outside dining is does not sort of come with it.
Councillor McDonald, I did see in the actual draft guidelines there's a section on change of ownership.
Through the chair, correct.
Yes.
We do have a requirement for transfer of ownership, and that is actually an application process that is forwarded through to our City Laws Approvals team, who then assess that and conduct the necessary transfer of ownership within that permit.
Yeah, I did see that.
Would it be possible, without giving any direction whatsoever under the Local Government Act, that when this is endorsed by council, that the related page on our website carries with it a prominent notice that these are granted following assessment and that there is no guarantee that a permit will be issued?
Through the chair, absolutely, we can do that.
Thank you. Councillor Owen-Jones.
Can I just pick up on that point? A transfer of ownership doesn't normally change the way the area was used, so it wouldn't necessarily trigger it not being, it doesn't enter into a new assessment because the owner of the cafe is different.
Through the chair, only if they were changing anything from the existing arrangement that was in place. If they weren't and it was exactly the same situation that they were proposing, it would just be a transfer in the system of the actual name and associated details.
So in order to avoid anybody having confusion or being fearful of some of their existing use rights disappearing because of a change of ownership, maybe that's what we should be emphasising. So
that any change following a change of ownership may trigger reassessment. Otherwise, a transfer can be facilitated.
Yeah, because the way I saw this is about activation and encouraging business, not saying that there's not continuity in the event that you were to sell your business.
Yeah, 100. Yeah.
Small business capital of Australia.
Yeah, 100%.
Through the
Excuse me, the minister just wanted to say something.
Through the chair, we do need a new application. It is part of the local law requirements. Yeah. But again, if the situation is similar, it would be a transfer of details, but it is a requirement that it is actually the issuance of a new application.
Yeah, and I get that, and it's an opportunity for the city to transfer information and remind the new owner of obligations and all of those things, but I see it as a transfer, kind of not dissimilar to a transfer of vehicle where you might need to get a roadworthy certificate, but the state aren't going to stop you driving on the road.
Councillor McDonald, all good? Would someone like to move the item? It's a great item. Councillor Tozer and seconded Councillor Le Castro. Any speakers against? All right. All right, councillors, I'll put that to a vote. All those in favour? All those against? That is carried. Councillor Hamill?
It's a quick one, so I might just read it out.
So, councillors, we have a proposed general business item. Councillor Hamill had a discussion with both myself and the director. The director, not putting words in your mouth, I think saw merit in bringing forward a bit of an update for our information, especially in the context of today's safety items.
Mr Chair, I haven't had a chance to run this past the director yet, but I've kept it very simple for allow him to bring the report. But I was just suggesting that a report be brought to the August Lifestyle and Community Committee meeting regarding the Safety Camera Network mobile CCTV program. Yep. I thought it was broad enough to allow the director to do what needs to be done.
I'm happy to second that. If you want to speak to it, Councillor Hamill.
Yep. So I think just, Chair, acknowledging what was in today's committee report about the community safety program, but also the fact that it's been roughly 12 months since the new mobile CCTV program was rolled out across the city, in which every division now has 4 allocated mobile tower cameras. In my opinion, it's been a really successful program after a couple initial teething issues, but the fact we've got a program now with a contractor where we can get a feasibility report done on a site within a couple of days, move a camera immediately, has been a really great addition and has been welcomed by the community. So the GBI today gives us a chance to look at how that's worked across the entire city, see if there's been any issues anywhere else that need to be looked at in the future. But I think also opens up the discussion of do we want to explore options of possibly increasing the amount of cameras in each division up from 4 to maybe 5 or 6.
So, Councillor Hamill, would you mind, just for the purposes of facilitating debate, just rereading your proposed words for our minute team? And let's consider September rather than August.
Is that September? Yeah. Okay, that could run. So, that a report be brought to the September Lifestyle and Community Committee meeting. Regarding the Safety Camera Network - mobile CCTV program. Brought to the September, maybe.
Is there one meeting in September?
It's be good to get some federal funding to expand this program.
So, Chair, the other thing that was discussed when we originally rolled this program out was looking at in the future if there are sites where we're continually putting one of the mobile cameras that possibly officers believe should be converted to a permanent fixture, what that might look like in the future and how that's facilitated. So it could look at that as well.
Yeah, and well, I've had 2 examples in my own community where there's been a conversion. It's been very good. Councillor Gates.
Thanks, Chairman. Just through you to the Director, was it 248 CCTV cameras we inherited after the Games from the state government?
Through the Chair, I have to take that one on notice, the exact number, but it certainly was a significant number like that.
And they were fixed cameras?
They were fixed cameras.
And That brings our total up to over 700, is that correct?
Yeah.
Over
We've got Kim
700.
Daniels here who might be able to give the exact numbers.
Thank you. I'm just interested because I've been disappointed in the commentary around people feeling safe in our city. Because people do generally feel safe in our city. And I don't know, Chairman, whether you missed the last Community Safety Forum. I think you may have.
I did, but I didn't miss what my community said.
Well, what you missed was the Police Commissioner's report, which gave us some confidential statistics. And I stand by what we've been told in terms of people feeling safe in this city. And I think that's the message that we should be sending out. So how many in total do we have?
Yes, through you, Chair. Councillor, we have 872 cameras now in the fleet. 500 of those are across our main entertainment precincts.
Yeah.
The others make up our skate parks. There's about 31 cameras across the skate parks, around 233 currently in our mobile fleet. That includes the 56 units that we currently have out, and we've currently got about 6 old fleets still out there that are waiting on conversions, and also our Urban Village program, which is about 200 cameras.
Yeah, and look, I recognise that we've had some pretty concerning incidents of late, but overall the numbers are not reflective of a problem. They're actually reflective of an improvement. So I hope that the police find it suitable to release the numbers that they gave to us at our last Community Safety Forum, because it gave me a far greater confidence in what was genuinely happening in our city.
Thanks, Kim. And just on what's genuinely happening, the community safety plan that we've all unanimously endorsed today, did it suggest that residents supported an increase in CCTV?
Yes, through you, Chair. One of the main things that residents did recognise in terms of our city programs was actually our CCTV program, both for a deterrent value and also the real perceived value of those cameras. So it was valued through the Safe City survey that was done in 2021, which actually indicated that it had about 3,300 residents and visitors that actually contributed to those results.
Just one more question, if you don't mind, Chairman. Since we're about to adopt our budget on Monday and there was not any commentary on additional cameras, when would be our first opportunity if the council had a desire to uplift the camera network, given no one raised it during budget?
Yes, through you, Chair. The only budget increase that we had was actually for one new technical officer, which you'd be aware of, Councillor. That's actually to obviously furnish our existing fleet because it's grown so much, so to have that technical support. In terms of additional cameras, we constantly look at our mobile fleet. We move those around, as you're all aware. If we identify there are issues in that area, we will put it on a forward schedule for our capital works program. So anything identified now would go to 24-25 budget.
Thanks very much.
And Kim, I've got another question. Is it the case that the budget which we're set to adopt will deliver, it's not really confidential because it's effectively re-provisioned, but deliver more safety cameras at the Varsity Lakes foreshore parklands?
Yes, thank you, Councillor, for your question. So with regard to Varsity, the Varsity project, we're delivering 16 or converting 16 of the cameras currently onto permanent fibre and permanent power, and also we're doing Varsity foreshore parklands. We're converting one mobile camera there to 2 cameras, permanent fibre and power, and also one at Christine Avenue.
Yeah, so I mean, unlike previous budgets, we haven't had the opportunity to go through it line by line in the usual way. We had the opportunity to ask questions when we saw glaring omission. I was quite happy with the expanded CCTV network being delivered in my own division. Obviously, I can't speak for anyone else in the room, but I didn't feel as I needed to raise it because city officers were proposing an expansion. Councillor Owen-Jones.
So I'm going to speak to CCTV cameras in my area. So I think we've got 4, and I'm really grateful for them being there because they did assist the QPS in making one incident report during the quarter. So that was really helpful.
Councillor Hamill.
Mr Chair, I just want to make the point that probably my thought of this GBI today wasn't trying to bring on extra cameras before Christmas or try and increase the budget anytime soon. It was more acknowledging the fact that it's a new contractor. They've been running it for 12 months. it's probably time for a report to come back for a review anyway, and it's looking forward to what the next few years may look like. So I'm not suggesting that we're going to go put new cameras in tomorrow or anything like that on the back of that report, but let's look at it, and if there's a mind of this group of councillors to do that, then we can start those works with the contractor so they can possibly scale up and officers can have the time before budget deliberations for 24-25 to look at what additional resources may be needed too. So for me, for all those reasons, that's timely, and that's why I actually chose not to bring it up during budget deliberations, because it was only 12 months old. It wasn't time yet to look at that. But I think once we get through this budget and we get to September and we're looking forward to next year and the years after that, it's probably the right time to have that review.
As Green Day said, when September comes, we'll take a look. No? No Green Day? All right, well, Councillor Hamill, as a visitor, you're unable to move that motion. I'm happy to move it. Councillor Tozer, happy to second it? I'm trying to get in there.
Just on community
Small business capital of Australia.
So good. No, it's all good. Any speakers against? No. Councillor Hamill, I'll take your contribution there as the close. You happy with that? I'll put that to a vote. All those in favour? All those against? That's carried. Councillors, it is 9:27. The formal part of the meeting will now close. For those who have a moment, I know Councillor Lacastri have to head off. We do have a short presentation and an opportunity to ask some questions about dog waste bag dispensers. If you want to be here for this one. Meeting's closed at 9:27.